Every single night, millions of Americans over the age of 55 swallow a small pill before bed. They do it to help themselves sleep. They do it because they have done it for years. They do it because they believe it is completely safe. But what if that tiny pill, the one sitting in the medicine cabinet right now, the one you can buy at any pharmacy without a prescription, is quietly weakening your heart while you lie there unconscious, unable to feel what is happening inside your chest? This is not about rare side effects. This is not about unusual cases. This is about a pattern that researchers have been warning about for years, while most people continue this habit without a second thought. If you or someone you love takes anything to fall asleep at night, the next few minutes could change how you think about your health forever. Sleep has become one of the most elusive things in modern life, and the older we get, the harder it seems to find. You lie in bed at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, knowing you have to be up in a few hours, and the frustration builds. You tried the breathing exercises. You tried cutting back on caffeine. You tried going to bed earlier. Nothing works. You reach for something that does work, something that finally lets you drift off. Maybe it started with an over-the-counter antihistamine, the kind marketed specifically for sleep. Maybe it was a prescription your doctor gave you years ago that you never stopped taking. Maybe it is melatonin in doses far higher than what your body naturally produces. Whatever it is, it became part of your routine. It became the only way you could fall asleep. And here's where the problem begins. These products work, at least on the surface. They make you drowsy. They help you lose consciousness. They stop the endless mental chatter that keeps you awake. But falling asleep and actually sleeping are not the same thing. What most people do not realize is that many of these substances do not give you real sleep. They give you something that looks like sleep, feels like sleep, but robs your body of what sleep is actually supposed to do. The numbers are staggering. Studies suggest that nearly 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65 uses some form of sleep aid regularly. Many have been using them for 5, 10, even 20 years. They assume that because the products are available over the counter, or because their doctor prescribed them long ago, they must be safe for long-term use. But that assumption may be one of the most dangerous beliefs in modern health. These products were never designed for nightly use over years or decades, and the research that has emerged over the past decade paints a troubling picture that most users have never heard about. If you are over the age of 50, this matters more than you might think. Your body does not process these substances the way it did when you were younger. The enzymes in your liver that break down medications become less efficient with age. The medications stay in your system longer. The effects linger deeper into the night, and sometimes into the next day. Your heart, which may already be dealing with age-related stiffness or minor rhythm irregularities, becomes more sensitive to substances that affect its electrical system. Your brain, which relies on deep sleep to clear out toxins and consolidate memories, becomes more vulnerable to anything that disrupts that process. This is not about blaming anyone for trying to sleep better. Sleep is essential. Chronic sleep deprivation damages nearly every system in the body. The desire to find something that works is completely understandable. But the solution should not be worse than the problem. And for many people, the nightly pill they trust has become exactly that, a slow, invisible source of harm that accumulates over years, while they believe they are simply getting the rest they need. If this sounds familiar, if you find yourself unable to sleep without taking something, or if you know someone in that situation, this information is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to help you understand what is actually happening and what you can do about it. Because once you understand the real risks, you can start making different choices. If you care about protecting your health as you age, take a moment right now to subscribe to Wellness Secrets. This channel exists to bring you the kind of health information that can genuinely change your life, explained in a way that makes sense and leads to real action. To understand why common sleep aids can be dangerous, you first need to understand how they work inside your body. Most over-the-counter sleep products rely on a single active ingredient, an antihistamine called diphenhydramine. You may recognize it from allergy medications. It works by blocking histamine receptors in the brain. Histamine is a chemical that promotes wakefulness, so when you block it, you feel drowsy. That part is simple enough. But here is what the label does not tell you. Diphenhydramine does not just block histamine. It also blocks another brain chemical called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine plays a critical role in memory, muscle control, and the regulation of your sleep cycles. When you suppress acetylcholine, you interfere with your brain's ability to move through the natural stages of sleep, particularly the deep stages where physical restoration happens, a cycle through different phases each night. Light sleep transitions to deeper sleep and then to REM sleep, where dreaming occurs and the brain processes emotions and memories. This cycle repeats multiple times throughout the night. Each phase serves a different purpose. Deep sleep is when your cardiovascular system gets its only real break. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, your blood vessels relax. This is the recovery period that keeps your heart healthy over time. When you take a substance that suppresses your brain's natural chemistry, you may lose consciousness, but you do not necessarily enter those deeper phases. You may spend most of the night in lighter stages of sleep, drifting in a kind of half-rest that never allows your body to fully repair itself. You wake up after what seemed like a full night of sleep, but you feel tired, foggy, unrested. That is not a coincidence. Your body did not get what it needed. Prescription sleep medications work through different mechanisms, often targeting a brain system called GABA, which promotes relaxation and sedation. While they can be effective for short-term use, many carry similar risks when used chronically. They can suppress deep sleep, create dependency, and interact dangerously with other medications. The brain adapts to their presence, which is why people often find they need higher doses over time to achieve the same effect. What started as a temporary solution becomes a permanent fixture that no longer works as well but feels impossible to stop. This is the biological trap that millions of people find themselves in. They are taking something every night that makes them unconscious but does not give them real sleep. And the consequences build slowly, invisibly, inside the heart and the brain. Now, let us talk about what this means for your heart, starting with something most people have never heard of but need to understand. Many common sleep aids, including diphenhydramine and certain prescription sedatives, can affect the electrical system that controls your heartbeat. They do this by prolonging something called the QT interval. The QT interval is a measurement of the time it takes for your heart to electrically reset between beats. When this interval becomes too long, the heart becomes vulnerable to dangerous rhythm disturbances. In extreme cases, this can lead to a condition called torsade de pointe, a type of abnormal heart rhythm that can cause sudden cardiac arrest. For a young, healthy person with no other medications or heart conditions, this risk is generally low. But for someone over 60, someone who may already have some degree of heart disease, someone taking other medications that also affect the QT interval, the risk becomes significant. And here is the part that catches people off guard. Many common medications prolong the QT interval. Blood pressure medications, antidepressants, antibiotics. When you combine one of these with a nightly sleep aid, the effects can stack on top of each other without you ever knowing. This is why cardiologists are increasingly concerned about the casual use of over-the-counter sleep aids in older populations. The heart does not give you a warning before a rhythm disturbance. There is no pain signal. There's no gradual buildup you can feel. It simply happens, often during sleep, when you are least able to respond. If you have any history of heart palpitations, irregular heartbeat, or cardiovascular disease, this is not something to dismiss. It is something to discuss directly with your doctor. Ask specifically whether the sleep aid you are using is safe, given your other medications and your cardiac history. This is a conversation that could save your life. Here is where the danger becomes even more personal, and where most people have no idea what is happening inside their own bodies. Even if a sleep aid does not directly harm your heart through rhythm disturbances, it may still be damaging your cardiovascular system by preventing the kind of sleep your heart needs to recover. During deep sleep, your sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for stress and alertness, finally quiets down. Your parasympathetic nervous system takes over, signaling rest and repair. Your blood pressure dips by 10 to 20%. Your heart rate slows to its lowest point of the day. Your blood vessels relax and widen. This is the only time in the entire 24-hour cycle when your cardiovascular system truly rests. When you take a substance that disrupts your sleep architecture, You may never reach those deep phases. You spend the night in lighter sleep, your nervous system partially active, your blood pressure elevated, your heart working harder than it should, night after night. This adds up. Your heart never gets its recovery time. The wear and tear accumulates. The risk of hypertension increases. The risk of heart attack and stroke climbs higher with each passing year. Researchers have a term for people whose blood pressure does not drop at night. They are called non-dippers. And studies have shown that non-dippers face dramatically higher rates of cardiovascular events compared to people whose blood pressure follows the normal nighttime pattern. This is not a subtle difference. It is one of the strongest predictors of heart disease that exists. So ask yourself this question: are you truly sleeping at night? Or are you simply unconscious while your heart continues to work as hard as it does during the day? If you are relying on a sleep aid that suppresses your natural sleep cycles, there is a very real possibility that your heart has not had a proper rest in years. This is the part that most people never hear. They think they are solving a sleep problem. They do not realize they may be creating a cardiovascular problem that shows no symptoms until it is too late. And if you think this is concerning, wait until you hear what comes next, because the effects on your heart are only part of the story. What these substances do to your brain over time may be even more alarming, especially if you have been using them for years. There is another aspect of sleep aid use that traps people in a cycle they never intended to enter. It is called dependency, and it happens so gradually that most people do not recognize it until they try to stop. Here is how it works. When you take a sleep aid regularly, your brain begins to adapt. It adjusts its own chemistry to compensate for the presence of the drug. If the medication suppresses certain brain signals, your brain starts producing more of those signals to balance things out. Over time, your brain becomes accustomed to functioning with the medication on board. It becomes the new normal. Then, one night, you decide to skip the pill. Maybe you just wanted to see if you could sleep without it. And what happens is brutal. You lie awake for hours. Your mind races. You feel more restless than you ever did before you started taking the sleep aid in the first place. This is called rebound insomnia, and it is not a sign that you need the medication. It is a sign that your brain has become dependent on it. Most people misinterpret this experience completely. They think it proves they have a serious sleep problem that requires medication. They think the pill was the only thing standing between them and total sleeplessness. So they go back to taking it, often at a higher dose, because the original amount stopped working as well, and the cycle deepens. The brain adapts further. The dependency grows stronger. What started as an occasional sleep aid becomes a nightly necessity that no longer even works very well, but feels impossible to quit. This is not weakness. This is not a character flaw. This is basic neuroscience. The brain adapts to whatever chemicals you expose it to regularly, and the longer you use these substances, the harder it becomes to sleep without them. Many people who have been taking sleep aids for years have no idea what their natural sleep would even look like anymore. They have been chemically altering their brain every single night for so long that they cannot imagine any other way. But here's what you need to understand. Rebound insomnia is temporary. It typically lasts 1 to 3 weeks. If you can get through that difficult period, your brain will begin to recalibrate. Your natural sleep mechanisms will start to function again. It will not happen overnight, and the first few weeks may be genuinely hard. But on the other side of that adjustment period is something many long-term sleep aid users have forgotten exists. Real, natural, restorative sleep that your body produces on its own. Now, we need to talk about something that becomes increasingly dangerous as we age, and that is how sleep aids interact with other medications. If you are over 55, there's a good chance you take at least one other medication regularly. Maybe it is for blood pressure. Maybe it is for cholesterol. Maybe it is for anxiety, depression, or pain. Each of these medications has its own effects on your body, and when you add a sleep aid to the mix, those effects can combine in ways that are difficult to predict. Many sleep aids have what doctors call sedative properties. They slow down your central nervous system. They reduce alertness and reaction time. If you are also taking a blood pressure medication that lowers your heart rate, or an anti-anxiety medication that also has sedative effects, or even a simple antihistamine for allergies, These effects stack on top of each other. Your central nervous system becomes more suppressed than any single medication would cause on its own. During the day, this might make you feel drowsy or slow. But during sleep, when your body is already in a reduced state of alertness, this oversedation becomes genuinely dangerous. Your breathing can slow too much. Your blood pressure can drop too low. Your heart can struggle to maintain its rhythm. And because you are unconscious, you have no ability to recognize that something is wrong or call for help. This is particularly concerning for people who take multiple medications and add an over-the-counter sleep aid without telling their doctor. They assume that because it is available without a prescription, it does not count as a real medication. They do not mention it during their medical appointments. Their doctor has no idea they are taking it every night. And so, the dangerous interaction goes unnoticed until something goes seriously wrong. If you take any regular medications and also use a sleep aid, even an over-the-counter one, you need to have a direct conversation with your doctor or pharmacist. Bring the bottle with you. Show them exactly what you are taking and how often. Ask them specifically whether it is safe to combine with your other medications. Do not assume that something sold without a prescription is automatically safe for your situation. That assumption has harmed more people than you might imagine. If any of this information is new to you, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know whether you have been taking sleep aids without realizing these risks. Your experience might help someone else watching this video understand that they are not alone. What I am about to share next is something that keeps researchers up at night, and it should concern anyone who has been using antihistamine-based sleep aids for years. We already discussed how these products block a brain chemical called acetylcholine. That effect is what helps them make you drowsy. But acetylcholine does far more than regulate sleep. It is essential for memory formation, learning, and overall cognitive function. Medications that block acetylcholine are called anticholinergic drugs. And over the past decade, a growing body of research has linked long-term anticholinergic use to increased risk of dementia and cognitive decline. One major study, published in a leading medical journal, followed thousands of older adults over several years. The researchers found that people who used anticholinergic medications regularly, including common over-the-counter sleep aids, had a significantly higher risk of developing dementia compared to those who did not use these drugs. The risk increased with higher doses and longer duration of use. People who had been taking these medications for 3 years or more faced the highest risk. And here's the part that makes this so troubling. The effects appeared to be cumulative. The more you used over your lifetime, the greater the risk became. This was not about a single dose causing harm. It was about years of exposure gradually affecting the brain. Now, correlation does not always mean causation. It is possible that people who struggle with sleep have other underlying factors that also increase dementia risk. But the biological mechanism makes sense. Acetylcholine is critical for brain function. Suppressing it night after night, year after year, could plausibly interfere with the brain's ability to maintain itself. And when you combine this with the fact that these medications also prevent deep sleep, the stage when the brain clears out toxic waste products, you have a double assault on cognitive health. Your brain needs deep sleep to flush out a protein called beta amyloid, which accumulates in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. If your sleep aid prevents you from reaching deep sleep, that cleaning process does not happen properly. The toxic proteins build up. Over years, this could contribute to cognitive decline. This connection between sleep quality and brain health is one of the most important discoveries in neuroscience over the past 2 decades, and it means that anything disrupting your deep sleep is potentially putting your long-term brain health at risk. So what actually works? If sleep aids carry all these risks, what are people supposed to do when they genuinely cannot sleep? This is the question that matters most, because telling someone to stop taking sleep aids without offering alternatives is not helpful. The good news is that there are approaches with strong evidence behind them that do not carry the same dangers. The most effective treatment for chronic insomnia is something called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, often abbreviated as CBTI. This is not traditional talk therapy. It is a structured program that addresses the thoughts and behaviors that perpetuate sleep problems. It helps you identify and change the patterns that keep you awake. It retrains your brain to associate the bed with sleep, rather than with frustration and wakefulness. Multiple studies have shown that CBTI is more effective than sleep medications for long-term improvement, and the benefits last long after the treatment ends, because you are learning skills rather than relying on a substance. CBTI is now available through apps, online programs, and trained therapists. It typically involves techniques like sleep restriction, where you temporarily limit your time in bed to build stronger sleep pressure. It includes stimulus control, where you only use the bed for sleep, so your brain stops associating it with lying awake. And it addresses the anxious thoughts about sleep that often make the problem worse. If you have been struggling with sleep for months or years, this approach is worth exploring before or instead of relying on medications. Beyond CBTI, there are sleep hygiene practices that genuinely help when applied consistently. Keeping a regular sleep schedule matters more than most people realize. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, helps regulate your body's internal clock. Reducing light exposure in the evening, particularly blue light from screens, helps your brain produce melatonin naturally. Keeping your bedroom cool, around 65 to 68 degrees, supports the natural temperature drop your body needs to enter deep sleep. Some natural supplements have modest evidence behind them. Magnesium, particularly magnesium glycinate, can help with relaxation and may support sleep quality in people who are deficient. Glycine, an amino acid, has shown promise in some studies for improving sleep quality. These are not miracle cures, and they work best as part of a broader approach rather than as replacements for sleep aids. But they carry far fewer risks than the medications we have been discussing. If your sleep problems are severe and have not responded to these approaches, there may be a role for prescription sleep medications under careful medical supervision. Newer medications target more specific brain receptors and may have better safety profiles than older options. But these should be used at the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary time, with a clear plan for eventually discontinuing them. They should never become a permanent nightly habit without regular reassessment by your doctor. If you know someone over 50 who takes something every night to fall asleep, please share this video with them. They may have no idea what these substances are doing inside their body. Your decision to share could be the thing that changes their approach and protects their health for years to come. Now, let me give you a practical plan you can start using immediately. If you are currently dependent on sleep aids, the goal is not to quit cold turkey tonight. That approach often backfires and leads people right back to the medication. Instead, this requires a thoughtful, gradual process. First, schedule an appointment with your doctor within the next 2 weeks. Tell them, honestly, how long you have been using sleep aids and how often. Ask them to help you create a tapering plan that gradually reduces your dose over time. This slow reduction gives your brain time to adjust without the brutal rebound insomnia that comes from stopping suddenly. Second, start implementing sleep hygiene practices now, even while you are still taking the sleep aid. Establish a consistent bedtime. Dim the lights in your home 2 hours before bed. Stop using screens at least 1 hour before sleep. Make sure your bedroom is cool, dark, and quiet. These practices will support your natural sleep mechanisms and make the transition away from medication easier. Third, consider starting a CBTI program. There are apps available that walk you through the process, step by step. If your insurance covers it, a therapist trained in CBT, I can provide more personalized guidance. This investment in learning how to sleep naturally will pay dividends for the rest of your life. Fourth, be patient with yourself. If you have been using sleep aids for years, your brain will not recalibrate overnight. The first 2 to 3 weeks after reducing or stopping medication may be difficult. Your sleep may actually be worse before it gets better. This is normal. It is your brain readjusting to functioning without the chemical crutch. Push through this period with the knowledge that natural sleep is possible and is waiting on the other side. Finally, track your progress. Keep a simple sleep diary, noting when you went to bed, approximately when you fell asleep, how many times you woke up, and how you felt in the morning. This information will help you and your doctor assess what is working and what needs adjustment. It will also show you your improvement over time, which can be incredibly motivating during the harder weeks. I want to be clear about something important. If you have been prescribed sleep medication by a doctor for a specific condition, do not stop taking it based on this video alone. This information is meant to educate and raise awareness, not to replace personalized medical advice. Work with your healthcare provider to make any changes to your medication regimen. They know your full medical history and can guide you safely. The message I want you to take away from everything we have discussed is simple but vital. Sleep is not optional. Your body needs it. Your heart needs it. Your brain needs it. But the shortcut of taking a pill every night carries real risks that accumulate over time. The goal should not just be unconsciousness. The goal should be genuine, restorative sleep that allows your cardiovascular system to recover and your brain to repair itself. Millions of people are stuck in a pattern that seemed harmless when it started, but has become a slow drain on their health. They take something to sleep. It stops working as well. They take more or switch to something stronger. Meanwhile, their heart never gets its nightly rest. Their brain never reaches the deep sleep it needs to clear out toxins. And year after year, the damage builds invisibly until something finally breaks. You do not have to be one of those people. You now understand what is really happening when you take that pill. You understand why falling asleep is not the same as sleeping. You understand the risks to your heart rhythm, your blood pressure, your cognitive function, and your ability to ever sleep naturally again. You understand that there are better paths forward, paths that address the root cause of your sleep problems, rather than masking them with chemicals. Tonight, when you get ready for bed, I want you to think about what you have learned. I want you to look at that bottle in your medicine cabinet with new eyes. And I want you to make a decision about your health that your future self will thank you for. If you found this information valuable, subscribe to Wellness Secrets right now. This channel is dedicated to bringing you health information that genuinely matters, the kind of knowledge that can change the trajectory of your life. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And if this content helped you understand something important about your health, take 3 seconds to hit the like button. That simple action helps this information reach other people who need to hear it. Your heart has been beating for you every moment of your life. Your brain has been processing your experiences, storing your memories, making you who you are. These organs deserve real rest, not chemical unconsciousness. They deserve the deep, natural sleep that allows them to heal and restore themselves. And you deserve to wake up feeling genuinely rested, not groggy from a pill that knocked you out but never let you truly sleep. Take care of your heart tonight. Take care of your brain, and take the first step towards sleep that actually serves your body instead of slowly harming it. I will see you in the next video.